All right, how's it going? So, this is going to be the first of hopefully many videos of me building my first project car. Um, so, kind of just basic rundown of the car itself. A few months ago, I picked up a E36 BMW from a friend of mine. It was a project, a unfinished project that he picked up. The previous owner was trying to put an LS in it, bought the LS, bought the motor mounts, set it in the chassis, and then kind of gave up, realized it was going to be too much work. So I picked it up from him, and now this is going to be my build series of the car. Um, kind of some background, it is a 97 328 IS. The engine I have here, I'll show it to you in a second, is a Gen 3 LM7. So just a 5.3 LS. Pretty basic build. The goals are going to be trying to get around 400 wheel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it there with the kind of the low bug parts that I've been buying, but we'll see. So I guess let's get right into it. So here are some photos of the car itself. Again, I picked it up a few months ago. It's kind of living at my buddy's house while, because I don't really have a lot of space at my house. Luckily, he was kind enough to let me keep it there and kind of work on it there. So what I've been doing since buying the car is pulled the engine back out of the chassis, and decided to, go through, do a nice refresh. There was some, reliability parts in it, do some basic maintenance, and throw a cam in it. Again, the goals are around 400 wheel. I don't really know if we're going to make it there. I'm not super well versed in the LS platform. Again, this is kind of my first time diving into a project, but I figured, hey, why not, get into it at some point. So just figured I'd learn as I go. So now back to the engine. Here it is. As you can see, I kind of already started working on it, pulled off the head. Looking at it, I can show you some videos I took earlier of the engine when I first pulled off the head. Looking at it, it seems like it's in relatively good shape. I don't think I'm going to go too deep into it. This is going to be kind of a low buck, sloppy mechanics inspired refresh. Try to keep it as simple as possible, not spend a lot of money, especially because I'm going to be moving soon. So, trying to keep those costs down. So, looking at the engine again now, as you can see, pulled off the heads, started cleaning some surfaces off, cleaning off the block, making sure it's nice and flat, nice and clean, and kind of just prepping to put everything back together. Heads here, I already went ahead, disassembled them, took out the valves, valve stem seals, lifters and stuff like that. I did already take the valves out and kind of cleaned them up with some Scotch-Brite, lapped them because some of them were a little grungy, a little covered in carbon and stuff like that, but nothing bad. But overall, they're, in pretty good health. Here, let me grab a flashlight, kind of help show that. All right, so here you can see, they aren't fantastic, but they definitely aren't bad. After lapping them, they'll seal just fine. All of them are straight. Doesn't look like any of them are damaged. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Back to the head. So I kind of just went through BTR, Brian Taylor Racing, and just got a bunch of shit from them. Figured it'd be the easiest just to buy a bunch of stuff from one location and kind of go through and refresh everything. So as you can see, here are the heads. Just put the valve seals back on this one. And if we, it's kind of hard to do this with one hand, turn this over. Here is the head itself. Again, sorry, just trying to not blow it out. As you can see, it's not horrible. The cylinders or the combustion chambers themselves look pretty good. Relatively smooth, relatively clean. I actually did not clean these combustion chambers. When I pulled off the heads, this is kind of how it was. I think the previous owner already opened it up and kind of did some cleaning from the looks of it. So I just kind of went over the actual mating surface, cleaned that up, and tried to make sure that head gasket is going to get a nice seal. And then obviously lap the valves because the previous owner did not do that. So with that being said, next steps are to flip this back over again. With that being said, next steps are going to be reassembling the heads. As you can see, again, I got those new valve seals. Here we got some Blind Thule Racing springs for it to go with the Truck Norris cam that I bought. So just gonna kind of put it back together with some newer parts and go from there. I guess with that being said, just gotta jump back into it and get this head reassembled. All right, so it is the next day. Yesterday I kind of just put my head down, didn't do much filming, but got to work, so time for an update. All right, so the workbench is kind of a disaster zone at the moment. Just kind of finished up for today, so I haven't had a chance to clean, but I made some decent progress. So yesterday I got both heads off. As you can see, second one is over there. And I went ahead and swapped over the springs. So they got the new valve seals, new springs. As I showed in the previous video, kind of cleaned up the valves on both heads, and then went ahead and sanded the mating surfaces just to make sure everything is nice and flat. And then today I kind of popped over and cleaned the pistons off. Obviously they are not perfect, but they're good enough for me. I'm not going to try to put a ton of effort in. I went ahead and I used some Easy Off oven cleaner. And with that oven cleaner, it did a pretty good job. Honestly, it didn't take much. Just sprayed it on, left it on for a couple minutes, and then used a toothbrush to kind of take everything else off, or to agitate it. So getting back to what's next. So I went ahead, did like a final cleaning on the engine. So at this point, all of the mating surfaces are pretty much ready to be thrown back together with the new head gaskets and everything. But there are a couple things that are going to be holding me up. So first and foremost, I do not have a puller to get this crank pulley off. At the moment, it is a truck crank pulley. I have the truck accessories with the car right now at my friend's house. But I'm actually going to be swapping over to a F-body style. So F-body crank pulley and then F-body accessories. Just ordered all of that from ICT Billet. But at the moment, because I do not have the puller, I cannot get the pulley off to then access the camshaft to throw in that new Truck Norris cam that I'm going to be putting in this 5.3. So kind of just at a standstill until I get that. I don't know if I'm going to run to the parts store today and get it or if I'm going to wait till Monday, but we will see. One thing that I was really surprised to see is on the engine, if we look here, I'm not sure if it'll show up on camera, there is actually a decent amount of the factory cross-hatching. Yeah, you can see it there. So it looks like this engine is actually in pretty good condition. Obviously, I haven't taken the pan off and looked at the bearings, but from everything that I could see, head-wise, block-wise, cylinder wall-wise, it does look like it was a very healthy engine, that there wasn't anything wrong with it. So that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about not putting new bearings in it. Kind of the, thought process with the sloppy mechanic stuff is don't look at the bearings, because as soon as you look at them, they're going to be bad. So not going to look, just going to throw a different pan on, throw a different camshaft in, and just send it and kind of see what we get.